Is Van Halen going to do a stadium tour with Michael Anthony this summer, yes or no? Well, Dave, the mystery continues. I guess no one seems to want to fess up, and we are stuck at square one.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Anyway, we're on to the next section. Dave brought this to my attention, and boy, is this a head-scratcher. So, Scooter Braun, who is the manager of Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande and the Zac Brown Band, has a company called Ithaca Holdings, which acquired Atlas Music Publishing, which owns a good chunk of the Van Halen catalog, which apparently, according to Dave, is everything but a different kind of truth. Now, what does this mean? And you want to know what kind of control will they have? Will we see more Van Halen songs in commercials and movies? Is it licensing? Is it about repackaging the catalog? Do the Van Halens have any input in it? Is there any access to the Van Halen vaults? What do you think, Dave?
Those are all great questions. I have no great answers.
I know.
Other than it seems that the Van Halen hat is being passed around after those rights were bought. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago in 2015.
Wow.
They were bought by a company, and now they're being sold off to another company. So very interesting. I don't know what it means other than somebody else has the rights to do stuff with the music.
Right.
I mean, hopefully they'll play an active role in getting the music out there in, commercials or TV shows or whatever to keep the music alive and out there.
Right.
Because, music's not selling anymore. So product placement, I call it, I think is really key.
Yeah. It's a little late to be doing some of that stuff. There's not a lot that's going on in terms of like putting out product. I mean, there's a lot of stuff is being done digitally for sure. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that, and we'll try to do some research and find out some more information for you guys. Also, on Eddie's birthday, Wolfie did a little Instagram for his dad, and Wolfie, being the social media prankster that he is, took a photo of himself and a photo of his dad. It's a photo of the two of them together, and I think it's Eddie who's holding Cody. Okay. He did a face switch. So he took the face of himself and he put it on Eddie's body and Eddie's face on Wolfie's body. Now here's the funny part of the whole thing. He wrote a little note to his dad, "The happiest of birthdays to my beautiful dad son. Love you, Pop." And then he switched their faces, and let me tell you something. Now with Wolfie's face on Eddie's body evokes a young Rick Springfield. And Eddie's face on Wolfie's body looks like Carlos Mencia. If you could believe that.
That's quite the analogy you got going.
What did you make of that, Dave?
I thought it was very clever what he did.
Well, that was kind of funny. We all know that Wolfie's a wise guy. Still, again, not a word about Wolfie's album. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it is getting a little strange that this album is just sitting collecting dust on the shelf. I'm assuming it must be tied into this whole Van Halen situation because there's no other explanation.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Sam's already, done his album, announced the album's coming out, has tour dates.
Single. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Single. Oh, yeah, the single's been released,
yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, so, and his album's not coming out till May. His album's coming out in May, and this is... He's launching at the end of January, early February. It's like, and he's just gearing up for a May launch. So which means, anybody who's launching something, they're already getting going. So the question is, what are we looking at here? We don't even know what the hell's going on. Interestingly enough, I have another little tidbit here. Listen to this. So maybe this ties into what's going on with Van Halen. Remember our old buddy Mitch Malloy, Dave?
Yes, I do.
Well, I recently spoke to Mitch because his song, okay, so let's refresh everybody's memory. Mitch Malloy was the singer Van Halen hired after Sammy and before Gary, and it was sort of like an in-between, really didn't announce it to the public, and then they cut bait. Initially, he put up a song on iTunes, which, if you look back in our old podcast, we did a whole interview with him about this. He took a demo track that Ed and Al gave him and made a song called It's the Right Time. Hey! it's pretty much the music from That's Why I Love You from Gary. Now, I noticed on iTunes that this song disappeared, and I was curious as to what the hell was going on. So I contacted Mitch, and this is what he told me. Warner has shut it down. He said that half of that song is mine, and apparently I'm not allowed to make a living off my fucking work. He also said that his YouTube channel was shut down, and that they were claiming that he was violating some of their rules. And he is currently the lead singer of Great White, if you can believe that, replacing Jack Russell. And he's on tour, and he's going to be playing this summer. And he's also working on a live album / DVD release with them. But I'm wondering if this is some sort of cleanup for the comeback. And then I'm wondering if maybe this has something to do with the Scooter Braun thing. With all the, taking over the catalog. Maybe they're going to relaunch the catalog. Maybe they're cleaning up the Van Halen brand name. I don't know what's going on. What do you make of this?
I hadn't thought about the Scooter Braun angle. That's an interesting theory. I don't know. I feel like there's a part that Mitch isn't telling us, because YouTube doesn't just shut you down for no good reason.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But
Van Halen's Lost Boy.
For all of 5 minutes.
That's right.
But yes,
that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
A very interesting time in Van Halen history. So I don't know what's going on with there. I wish Mitch a lot of luck with Great White. That's a great gig for him, and I know he'll do well.
Absolutely. Now, Eddie Van Halen, is he alive? Yes, Eddie's alive. We actually saw him because Janie, his wife, held a birthday celebration for Ed, and it was posted as an Instagram that a video of Duff McKagan's wife, Susan, took. Now, Duff McKagan is the bassist in Guns N' Roses. She apparently is a friend of Janie and Ed's, and I don't know if Duff was there or not, but her name is Susan Holmes McKagan, and she took a video of them singing Happy Birthday to Eddie. Eddie looks good and happy and healthy, and they had a dessert buffet of cupcakes there. Now, the funny part of the video is there was a beer bottle that was on the table, and Eddie, as a joke, grabbed it and pretended to drink it, which is kind of funny considering he's an alcoholic. But he just kind of did like a funny little take about him like pretending to drink it, and then he just put it down and joked around. But it seemed like a nice home-style party for Ed, and he seemed very happy and healthy, and that's about all we got out of the Van Halen's day. What did you make of that video?
It was very nice.
Yeah.
You could tell, even like in a small group of friends or whatever, he's still quite the introvert. He's right. He's not
sheepish.
Really very comfortable being like the center of attention.
That's for sure.
So.
That's for sure.
I'll tell you though, those cupcakes look great.
Oh my God, did they look good? Yeah, they look like freshly homemade too.
Oh my God, I'm like, I gotta get myself invited to that party.
There was a lot of them too.
I know.
I think they showed at the end of the video. I think Ed was grabbing one and was ready to knock right into one.
Good for him.
Absolutely. Now, also, our old podcast guest, Dweezil Zappa, who is the son of the late Frank Zappa. Dweezil is an incredible guitarist in his own right and has a long Van Halen history of being not only a Van Halen fan, but a friend of Eddie's. And Eddie actually produced his first single as a kid. We interviewed Dweezil back in one of our old episodes. You can check that out. But Dweezil appeared on an episode of Norman's Rare Guitars, which is sort of a little internet show on YouTube. And Dweezil's cool. He's such a great guy. I love Dweezil. And he brought on a guitar that Eddie gave him. And I've never seen this guitar before, but he calls it the Rasta guitar. And it is one of Ed's typically patterned striped guitar, but it's not the red, white, and black. It is a red, white, yellow, and green striped guitar, which is the Rasta colors. And he said that Ed played it on the 1981 Fair Warning tour, and that it appears in the Unchained video as well as the Hear About It Later and So This Is Love video. The guitar is extra heavy. It weighs about 15 pounds, and it has that early 80s crunchy guitar sound. And interestingly enough, is Ed had painted over the guitar with the Rasta colors, and on the back, and you could almost see it in the raised lettering. He had the lettering "See you later, bye," because at the end of the concerts, he used to flip his guitar and flash it to the audience to say goodbye at the end of the show. What did you make of that little episode, Dave?
That was cool. I actually liked the paint scheme on that guitar. It was different. It's got some history to it.
Yep.
Obviously from Van Halen's prime years. So
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Very cool. And wrapping things up here for Van Halen news, 2 little peeks into the Van Halen proposed tour. Obviously, they were talking about, the Foo Fighters going to tour with Van Halen, right? Well, Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, was caught the other night on photo wearing Eddie Van Halen striped pants. And many of the people got on the webs and took that as a sign that maybe they're going to be touring with Van Halen. But that's not necessarily the case. The Foos have a tour set to go through Europe all summer, and they're through June and August, and they're doing all kinds of festivals. So I don't know if that Van Halen Foos thing is going to happen. Also noting is Lynyrd Skynyrd announced another leg of their farewell tour from May through September with no signs of playing with Van Halen. So what do you make of all this, Dave?
I think the guy just likes wearing Van Halen striped pants. That's what I think. I think he just likes the pants, and I think people are just like looking for clues that aren't there. That's
right.
all, man.
That's right.
That's all.
That's right. Well, we are wrapping up our Van Halen news segment.
And that's the way it is. Good night.
And this month, Dave and I do a deep dive into 1984, the ultimate classic Van Halen album. It's their 6th and last album with Roth for the original lineup. And we go into a deep dive discussion for its 35th anniversary. Dave and I talk about every little intricate part of the album, and we have all kinds of little ditties tucked in there for you, nuggets that you probably don't even know about, and we do a full-on discussion about that. But before we get to that, we have the biggest mailbag we've ever had yet, and that's all coming up next. Take a listen.
Well, I like to think that Van Halen has completely changed the face of modern music as we know it, and I'll explain that because it sounds preposterous initially, is that there's a huge faction of people who try and mimic Van Halen, copy, they play lickety-split like Edward does, or they try and get the Alex Van Halen drum sound and that sort of thing. And the other faction of individuals, musicians, which is much larger, of course, are so revolted by Van Halen music and the way I do interviews and et cetera, that they're forced to come up with some very substantial alternatives, musically speaking, and that's where New Wave comes from.
If you need a dose of VH, get a taste of the closest thing. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band, playing all the hits from the David Lee Roth era, first classic 6 albums, plus deep cuts, some of which have never been played live before by the band. They even throw in popular tracks from the Sammy Hagar era and solo hits. The most viewed Van Halen tribute band on YouTube, Romeo Delight, doing customized recreations of staging, instruments, and costumes from the classic Van Halen era. They even perform entire Van Halen albums in sequence. Romeo Delight plays theaters, casinos, summer indoor and outdoor festivals, and special events. They're also available for private parties. To contact them, call Bud Blanche at 215-704-5144. That's 215-704-5144. Or via email at sonicparade1@yahoo.com. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band.